My name is Anne Beaulieu. I'm visiting the Pufendorf Institute from the University of Groningen, and I'm part of the data theme for this academic year. And one of the things I'm hoping to bring to the work of the theme is my experience studying all kinds of data infrastructures in different disciplines, dealing with different kinds of data, whether images or quantitative data about energy, and to distill some of the things that have been learned from those systems and bring them to the challenges that the participants in the data theme are facing. In particular, I'm especially interested in practices, so what people are actually doing when they're using data infrastructures. And what I think is really important to look at are interfaces, suites of technologies, and the circulation of data. And if you look at the practices that are going on around these three aspects, then you get a really good understanding of how a data infrastructure can function. So I mentioned interfaces as one of the important aspects. When I came to the Pufendorf Institute, I had to deal with getting into the system of the University of Lund, and there's a whole interface that the university has set up. And one of the things that is very striking is that it's a very bilingual system. And that tells you about the ambitions for internationalization, for all kinds of visitors or collaborators who might access the University of Lund's system, and what your expectations are about the language in which these researchers will function. A second aspect that's really important to consider when you're studying data infrastructures is the importance of suites of technologies. What does that mean? Suites of technologies are associations of different technologies that enable them to work. In research data, you might think that a scanner or a measurement instrument is really important in terms of producing the data. However, these instruments are taken up in suites of technologies that are connected to other databases or algorithms or models that enable us to make sense of the measurements. So the measurement instrument doesn't stand on its own, but is really part of a suite of technology. And that's something that we also see in all kinds of everyday life applications where technologies are connected to each other. We think about different technologies being integrated in suites. This is a nice example. Here we see how cars are actually integrated with phones, and how with parking, phone is actually an integrated technology. A third important aspect is the circulation of data. And by this I mean not only are people sharing data or exchanging data, but also how data circulates through its production. It's been fairly common to have particular points of measurement where you would gather data on an object that might be moving around. However, it's increasingly common to have the data itself coming from the object as it circulates. To illustrate this, you can think of these passes that we have to access buildings and also to leave them, which register movement at particular gateways. Another increasingly common way of gathering data about movement is to have a sensor on the object itself, where you're gathering a much more dense set of data points about circulation. This also raises questions about how much data do you actually need, how much data will you actually have to manipulate and clean, and so on in order to have meaningful results, but also raises all kinds of privacy issues. So in the theme group data, we have people from archaeology, from linguistics, and from library and information sciences, as well as astronomy, physics, mathematics. And we're all working together not because we want to develop one single tool for all these different approaches, all these different data needs, but because by working together we also get a better sense of what is specific about our own discipline and have a more reflexive approach to how we deal with data, which will enrich all our projects in the end.